Hey there, I want to start this video with a public service announcement. By the time you see this, it might be too late for this season. Then again, maybe not, I'm not sure. But Ramona and I, in 2 consecutive weeks in October, weekends, we went up north, northern Marinette County. The county tourism department actually put out a map, published a map where you could do a driving tour, on your own, in your own vehicle, of the waterfalls of Marinette County. And there are a lot more of them. I grew up in Marinette County. And there are a lot more of them than I realized. I knew Dave's Falls, but there's 18-foot falls and 12-foot falls, and they're all spectacular, bordered by the amazing fall colors. I mean, they were just really, really good stuff. And we highly recommend it. I put a lot of it on Facebook. It's just amazing. God's creation on display. Just a reminder that he's there. But that's not what this video is about. I just wanted to make sure you knew that. But that's not what this video is about. Here we go. So on our way to one of those falls, on our walking way, we're already, where we parked our car. And we are on the trail to 18-foot falls. And we get to a fork in the road, and the fork in the road comes with a sign. And the sign points, this way is moderate, this way is extreme. Well, that was the easiest fork in the road decision I have ever made in my whole entire life. Yeah, we took the moderate. In fact, I couldn't even really discern exactly where the trail was on the extreme route. You basically started looking almost straight up, and there was a rock formation, and you sort of had to scale that, apparently, to get to the actual extreme trail. So our thought, of course, was it must be a pretty significant shortcut, right? If you're going to be willing to basically do some, semi-climbing to get there. Well, when we got then, of course, to the other fork in the road, where the 2 trails meet again, it wasn't much of a shortcut at all. In fact, unless you were really top athletic shape, it may not have been any quicker at all to take the extreme route. So that got me thinking. We encounter those forks in the road in our lives, particularly we believers, in our spiritual lives all the time. But we all face forks in the road, and they're not nearly the slam dunk, obvious, flashing neon decisions go this way as this was for us. Sometimes, and it's tough, because sometimes God wants us to take a step out in faith and take the extreme route, the difficult route, and we opt for the moderate or easy route. Other times, God has an intended path, and we choose one that we think is better, and we either miss out on the blessings he had in store for us. He wanted us to go the hard way, but it would pay off in blessings, or he wanted us to go the easier way, and we decided to go plodding on our own, and we missed out on a blessing, or we got in real trouble. So, in our lives, and for we believers, especially in our faith lives, how do we know? How do we know? Because we can't see. How do we know which is the moderate and which is the extreme? And even if we figure that out, how do we know which one God has to take? Well, fortunately for us, he has an app for that in his word. It is Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6. It's a pretty famous one. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. No decision is too big, no decision is too small to turn it over to God. Because you see, we can't see these things from our earthly vantage point, just like we couldn't with the path. In fact, so we, of course, took the moderate route. And then when we got, again, to where the fork in the road met, We saw a gentleman who took the extreme route, a gentleman toting a very expensive looking telephoto lens, digital SLR camera, and tripod. It had to be brutal for him and dangerous to him, both him and the equipment. But from his vantage point and our vantage point back at the first fork in the road, none of us could see which was the, if you will, best route or better route. Oftentimes in our lives, we can't see the route God wants us to take from our earthly vantage point. So we need to trust Him. We need to trust Him and lean not on our own understanding. And He will make our paths straight. And He will make it clear what that looks like, where He wants us to go. So ask when you get to the next fork in the road. Ask, listen, and say yes. And He will show you the way. Thanks for listening, and God bless.